Okay, yeah, the Tennessee Titans. So Tennessee Titans, I don't think they got much better in the offseason, but I think they're really much worse. They still carry pretty much the same defense, which is decent. They have Harold Landry, Simmons, cornerbacks. I'm not too sure about. They have Byron, I think that's still at safety. I think the defense I think was good last year, and I think it's gonna be good this year. And they're getting Derrick Henry back. I'm worried about their wide receivers. They're gonna depend on Burks and Robert Woods is coming up. And I'm kind of worried about that, but hopefully it won't be a problem. So you have your first game versus Giants. Giants are rebuilding for forever, and just team's just not very talented right now. They don't have much offensive power. Really can't compete. I'm gonna take the Titans. Then you have them versus the Bills. I just don't think the Titans can like offensively match up against the Bills. They have so much firepower. The Bills, they have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, their new rookie running back, and they have a very, very good defense. I think they were they did 1 or 2 last year. And Titans have a good defense, but I don't think it's enough to stop the Bills. I don't think the offense can make up for it, so I'm gonna take the Bills. Then you have them versus the Raiders. Raiders are an interesting team, definitely a trap game if you can call it that. Raiders, they have some great offensive weapons in Waller, Renfro, Adams, Josh Jacobs. Their defense, though, I think the Tennessee Titans can exploit their run defense, and I think that will happen. Derrick Henry will have a great game versus the Raiders, and I just don't think the Raiders defense can stop Derrick Henry. And when you can't stop Derrick Henry, I'm going to take the Titans. Then you have Week 4 versus the Colts. Colts are a good team, well-rounded team. They have Matt Ryan, decent wide receiver in Pittman. And defensively, they have Darius Leonard and a couple other good pieces. So Colts divisional matchups hard to predict early on. You know, this one's a coin flip. They're pretty evenly matched, the Colts and the Titans. Just on the first game, I'm gonna take the Titans. Then you have Denver versus football team. Definitely a trap game. Football team's defensive line is good, and I think it's good enough to stop Derrick Henry. But I don't think the Washington offense can do anything versus the Titans defense. Football team, their offense, I'm not sure. They have Carson Wentz. They have Carson Wentz and McLaren, but other than that, I don't really have much other talent on offense. And I think this one's going to be a more relatively low scoring game. I'm gonna have the Titans getting the win. Then you have the bye, and then you have the Titans coming off a bye against another divisional opponent in the Colts. I just don't think the Titans are good enough to sweep the Colts, even coming off a bye with home field advantage. So I'm gonna take the Colts. Then you have them versus the Texans. Texans are totally rebuilding right now, but it's a divisional game. The Titans did lose to the Texans last year, so anything can happen in this game. But I just don't see it. I just don't see the Texans having the talent to beat the Titans or stop Derrick Henry. So I'm gonna take the Titans. Then you have them versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are coming off a bye. They still have offensive talent. This one is going to be a good game. Last year, Titans totally beat the Chiefs, and I think Derrick Henry can have a good game, but I'm not sure about Ryan Tannehill. Even though the Chiefs secondary isn't great, and the Chiefs offense, they still have Travis Kelce. They have a good wide receivers, not great. They still have Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs are coming off a bye with home field advantage. I'm going to take the Chiefs. Then you have them versus the Broncos. Broncos are definitely a tough team. They have Russell Wilson. They have a good defense, though slightly thin. And at this point, I think their injuries might catch on to them. And their wide receivers, I'm kind of slightly worried about their offensive line, but not too worried. I think Titans have a home field advantage coming off a loss against the Chiefs. I think Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry can work their magic and do well against the Broncos defense, even coming off a bye. And I think that Titans defense might cause a bit of a problem for Russell Wilson, so I'm going to take the Titans. Then you have them versus the Packers. Packers is a Thursday night game in Green Bay. Green Bay has, I think, just as talented roster, even slightly more talented than Titans, even without Adams. So have a very good defense. They have home field advantage, and it's a Thursday night, making it extra hard on the road team. That alone, I'm gonna take the Packers. Then you have them versus the Bengals. I'm not. This game is gonna be good. I don't think the Bengals defense, linebacker specifically, is good enough to stop Derrick Henry. And I think the Titans are. I think the Titans are gonna avenge their loss in the divisional round against the Bengals. And I think Titans defense is just good enough to stop all the superstars in the Bengals like Chase, Boyd, Burrows, just enough to stop them in their offense. I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm gonna take the Titans though. Then you have them versus the Eagles. Eagles are a good team as well, so they have a really tough schedule. Wow, they have a really tough schedule from starting from week 9 to week 15. It's really tough. Eagles think they're good. They got a bunch of new linebackers, which I think are enough to slow down Derrick Henry. But I think I think the Eagles, I think, will have a good defense. Offense, I'm slightly worried about. Hurts may struggle against the Titans defense. Yeah, and I'm gonna take the Titans. I think they're more experienced. Then you have them versus the Jaguars. Jaguars are still rebuilding, and still rebuilding. They still have some talent. They got a bunch of people in free agency, just not good enough to compete with the Titans. So I'm gonna take the Titans. Then you have them versus the Chargers. Chargers are a good team. They have home field advantage. Justin Herbert. They have Keenan Allen. A lot of people. And their defense, I'm slightly worried about the Chargers' defense. They were not good in run this year, so I think Derrick Henry may have one of his better games. I think Justin Herbert will it's gonna be a close game, and I trust Justin Herbert over Ryan Tannehill, so I'm gonna take the Chargers. So I think Derrick Henry will have one of his best games against the Chargers, but Tannehill will throw it away. Then you have the Houston Texans. You know, Texans, they beat the Titans last year and they split with them. I think Davis Mills and their team will have much more experience now. And Titans on a Saturday after coming off a road win or a road loss against the Chargers, I think Titans might be exhausted. And I think this is going to be a trap game and the Titans are going to fall for it. So I'm going to take the Texans. Then you have them versus the Cowboys. Definitely a big game. At this point, they're 9-6, and Cowboys, they definitely have a ton of offensive weapons, but they're on the road and they also have a good defense in Micah Parsons that can slow down Derrick Henry. But I just after coming off back-to-back games, and I just think that, and this is a Thursday night, they're definitely hard on the Cowboys. I'm gonna take the Titans. Then you have the final game versus Jacksonville. I just don't see the Titans fall into the trap against Jacksonville. Jacksonville, they still have Trevor Lawrence. They signed Kirk. They signed a couple of defensive players. I think the Titans need this game to secure the division. I'm gonna take the Titans. I don't think they're gonna pull a Colts and lose to the Jaguars and miss the playoffs. So I'm gonna take the Titans. So in the end, I have them going 11-6, 4-2 in the division, 6-2 at home, 5-4 away. And there you have it, my Titans predictions.